So many people with IBD have a love-hate relationship with food, right? There's certain foods that can induce anxiety. We all have our trigger foods that we're like, yeah, that's not happening. It could be, it's a little bit easier to kind of move past that if it's not a whole food group, right? So if you're like, no, I cut out all carbs, I cut out all dairy, I cut out all this, right? You're left with very little, right? But if you're looking at certain foods, triggers, like I had one for about 23 years was asparagus because I had a bowel obstruction in 1989 and I was convinced it was asparagus. I had asparagus last week and I'm still sitting here. So really it's not one food. You've got to think about it in terms of load, and the fact that asparagus bothers me doesn't mean it's going to bother you, right? But that thought of asparagus would induce anxiety because I know what it led to, right? So it's just easier to avoid and restrict it. The problem comes when you kind of look at, okay, well, I have A, B, C, D, E, like I have like 20 foods now that induce anxiety and you're left with very little. And then you kind of go back to, well, how am I ever going to get past this and get my gut feeling better again and create better diversity with the gut so I can reduce this inflammation or maybe help with my weight? And the only way to do that is to include those kinds of foods that are typical that we tend to take out anyway. So it really does influence our relationship with food. Eating out can cause a lot of anxiety for a lot of people because it's the unknown, what's in it, right? But once you know what your trigger is and how often you can have them, the anxiety that's kind of built in with eating out, right, can be reduced. If you control certain things during the day, then you can go out, you can enjoy it, right? So I had a patient, I thought that this would be a good one to kind of include in, that they said there have also been times when I eat something I know is bad for my GI tract. So I figure I might as well make it a bad eating day. If I'm going to suffer anyway, why not eat whatever I like and enjoy it, since most days I have to be much more restricted. Something else that kind of goes along with this, I would say, is even looking at somebody who's going to school or going to university or going to work all day, and it's easier not to eat during the day because you're worried about the symptoms that you're having. Either you're taking a train somewhere, you're going to be stuck in the car for a long time, you're going out for lunch with work, like something like that. It's just easier not to eat so you don't have issues. And then they come home and they're starved, right? And they start to eat and your portion distribution goes, right? And it's not a binge, but it's just the largest portion of where you're eating. It's harder for your gut to handle, right? But the reality is that it feels less restrictive because at least those people know, and I've heard time and time again, it's like, but at least I'm at home. So I'm going to have symptoms. I'm not going to feel great. I'm going to be running to the bathroom. At least I'm at home, right? But that restriction during the day, every day, to kind of get in the habit of that with eating later at the night and just not, every day repeated, is not great for your digestive tract either. So it makes more sense to kind of start with the beginning of the day and then slowly reduce your portions later on so it's easier for you to control your portions or your symptoms.